You're busy, right? Always looking for that edge, the real difference maker. Ever stop and wonder what it is that allows some people to not just dream about their goals, but actually nail them consistently?
That's such a key question. And it's really the core of what we're tackling today. We're diving deep into the insights of, well, the legendary Jim Rohn, focusing on what truly separates those who achieve significant success from those uh, who don't seem to.
Exactly. We've been digging into the transcript of his YouTube talk, Jim Rohn, How to Escape the 99% and Join the 1%, Daily Habits that Separate Winners from Losers. And it's not abstract theory, is it? This is about, like, real practical steps you can actually take.
Absolutely. And our mission here in this deep dive is basically to pull out the most potent nuggets from Ron's message. You know, the actionable principles, the perspective shifts that can genuinely move the needle in your life without just overwhelming you with information.
Okay, so Ron kicks things off with a really fundamental point. Lasting success isn't some flash in the pan. It's built through, well, the consistent execution of daily habits. Think about getting physically fit, maybe. Showing up for one massive workout isn't going to cut it, is it?
Precisely. Not at all. And it's the same with building wealth, right? It's not usually about one lucky investment. It's that steady process of saving, making informed decisions, over time. Ron's emphasis is really on the power of those small, seemingly routine actions, but applied consistently.
And this really struck me. He says, excellence is a choice. It's not some innate talent you're born with or a lucky hand you're dealt. It's about the conscious decisions you make day in and day out to operate at your best.
Yeah, it's empowering, I think, because it puts you firmly in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And it links directly to another key Ron idea. How you do anything is how you do everything. What's fascinating here is the notion that the small things, well, they aren't really small at all.
It's like a ripple effect, isn't it? If you start letting standards slip in just one area, it can kind of bleed into others. Ron gives examples, like missing a workout that turns into weeks of inactivity, or maybe one bad financial choice leading to more. It's that downward spiral we want to avoid.
Absolutely. And the flip side, the good news, is that the opposite is also true. Cultivating even one positive daily habit can create this sort of upward momentum. That small win can build confidence, make it easier to adopt other positive changes. It's about creating a virtuous cycle, really.
Now, let's be honest. I think a lot of us have this idea, maybe sort of subconsciously, that really successful people just had it easier somehow. Ron tackles that assumption head on.
He does, and it's crucial to address. He argues that behind pretty much every visible success, there's this huge amount of consistent effort and daily discipline that often goes completely unseen. Think about someone like Michael Jordan. Talent, undeniable, but his legendary work ethic, that's what truly set him apart.
Right, or Elon Musk, the sheer dedication required for those kinds of ambitions.
Exactly. These aren't people who waited around for the mood to strike. They actively forged those habits of excellence that propelled them forward, regardless of, fleeting feelings of motivation.
Okay, so if it's not about waiting for that spark of motivation, where does it actually begin? What's the starting point?
Ron suggests it starts with a clear decision. Basically, a conscious commitment to be disciplined and consistent in your daily actions. It's less about these huge dramatic resolutions and much more about the small daily promises you make and, crucially, keep to yourself.
He shares this powerful little story, doesn't he? About a person who desperately wanted to change their life, but just wasn't taking any consistent action. They wanted all these big outcomes, wealth, health, happiness, but couldn't point to a single productive thing they did that day.
Right. And Ron's advice, his prescription, was brilliant in its simplicity. Read just 10 pages, do one push-up, save $1, but do it daily. It really highlights how those seemingly insignificant acts, when done consistently, are what build momentum and lead to pretty significant change over time.
Okay, but we all have those days, right? When the energy is just low, the excuses start whispering in your ear, I don't have time, I'm too tired. Ron doesn't really buy into that, does he?
Not really, no. He challenges those objections with a really thought-provoking question. If you don't have time to be excellent, how will you ever have time for success? It kind of forces you to really look at your priorities and how you're spending your most precious resource, your time.
It does. And he calls excuses the enemy of progress, which just rings so true. He points out that anyone who has achieved anything worthwhile has faced obstacles. They've had plenty of reasons to make excuses, but they made that conscious choice to push past them.
And then he poses this fundamental question that life seems to ask us every single day. Are you moving forward or are you standing still? What's so insightful there is Ron's point that there's no real neutral ground. You're either growing and improving or you're kind of stagnating and effectively falling behind.
So it's about putting in that effort consistently, even when motivation is, well, MIA. Because Ron argues that motivation often follows action, it doesn't always have to come first. You've just got to get started.
That's a really crucial distinction, I think. You can't always rely on feeling inspired. Sometimes you just need to take that first step, do the thing, and the motivation often catches up.
Yeah.
He uses that cautionary tale, doesn't he, of someone who kept waiting for the perfect moment and ultimately just missed their window of opportunity. Time, as he stresses, is non-renewable.
And what about when things inevitably go wrong? I
Yeah.
mean, we're all going to face setbacks, right?
Absolutely. And Ron reframes failure not as some final destination, but actually as a vital part of the learning process. It's about what he calls failing forward, extracting the lessons from those experiences and using them as stepping stones. The real danger, he argues, isn't the occasional stumble, it's staying stuck, it's stagnation.
This leads to some pretty serious self-reflection, I feel. Ron encourages us to really examine our current situation, our habits, our results, and see them as a direct consequence of our daily choices.
It's a call for radical self-honesty, really. Are your daily habits consistently moving you towards your definition of excellence, or are they maybe inadvertently pulling you further away? It's a tough question, but it's essential for anyone seeking meaningful change.
He then kind of gets into the deceptiveness of the word someday. I think so many dreams and aspirations just get lost in that vague future.
It's a total linguistic trap, isn't it? Ron breaks down someday. He says it often just means never, or delay, or hesitation. He really stresses that success isn't some future event you wait for. It's built right now, in the present, through consistent action and commitment.
And he talks about breaking free from negotiation mode. The constant internal debate about whether or not to do the productive habit, that really hit home for me.
Oh yeah, that internal back and forth can be incredibly draining, and ultimately it's just unproductive. Ron contrasts this with the decisive mindset of high achievers. They make a decision, they commit, and they act without getting bogged down in endless negotiation with themselves.
It all seems to boil down to our personal standards, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ron contends that our current reality is basically a direct reflection of what we're willing to tolerate from ourselves.
Precisely. If you consistently tolerate mediocrity in your daily habits, well, you're likely to see mediocre results. It makes sense. But the moment you consciously decide to raise those standards, Ron suggests it triggers this fundamental shift in your thinking, your behavior, and ultimately your outcomes.
And he makes it crystal clear that success isn't something that's just given to you. It's earned. It's earned through that consistent, often unglamorous daily work that maybe nobody else even sees. He used that pointed example, didn't he, of the young person claiming they lack time but then spending hours on TV or their phone.
Yeah, that really underscores the idea that it's not usually a genuine lack of time, but rather a lack of prioritization and commitment. If something truly holds value for you, you will find the time for it. Ron's challenge to audit your day is actually incredibly insightful. Where is your most valuable resource, your time, really going?
This next point really made me stop and think. He asks, what if you treated your daily habits like life or death?
It's a powerful thought experiment, isn't it? If the stakes of your daily choices were perceived as that high, how would your behavior change instantly? Would you still procrastinate on those important tasks? It really highlights the long-term significance of what might seem like small, inconsequential decisions in the moment.
Because, as he says, our daily choices are, in fact, shaping our future, moving us either towards our goals or further away. There isn't really any standing still in the long run, is there?
And he draws this clear distinction between those who passively sort of drift through life and those who actively take the wheel, who set clear intentions and pursue them with unwavering dedication. Success, he keeps reminding us, is something you actively earn day by day, not something you just passively receive or hope for.
It's about accumulating those small daily wins through consistent effort and discipline. It's not about waiting for one big monumental moment, but really embracing the power of consistently doing the right things, however small.
He shares that inspiring story, I think, about an individual who made a conscious right now decision to just demand more from themselves. It wasn't some overnight transformation, obviously, but the cumulative effect of those small, consistent acts of excellence. That's what led to significant positive change over time.
And he brings it back again to this core idea that success really hinges on consistency, just doing the right things repeatedly, even when it's not exciting, even when it's not glamorous. It's about that internal accountability, isn't it? Even when no one else is watching.
Hmm.
So the crucial question he poses is simply, are you winning the day?
Yeah, it's a direct call to action, really. Take ownership of your time, your habits, your mindset. Are you letting distractions erode your potential day after day, or are you actively, consciously building the future you actually envision?
Then he pushes us a bit further to consider if we're truly giving our full effort each and every day, not just, when it feels easy or convenient or when we're motivated.
He highlights the often untapped potential of people who operate at less than their full capacity most of the time. That conscious decision to really go all in, to consistently raise your personal bar even slightly each day, can be truly transformative.
And just to clarify, daily excellence isn't about achieving some state of flawless perfection, is it? That's not realistic. It
Yeah.
seems to be more about how we respond when we inevitably stumble or make a mistake.
Exactly right. It's about the speed at which you recover, the lessons you manage to extract from those setbacks, and your unwavering commitment to just keep moving forward. Winners, as Ron reminds us, aren't the people who never experience failure, but rather those who refuse to be defeated by it. He shares that poignant example of the highly talented but ultimately unfulfilled individual who just lacked that consistent drive, that daily discipline.
Which brings us back to that compelling question. What actually becomes possible if you wholeheartedly commit to mastering each and every day? The answer feels, well, incredibly promising.
And that just underscores the urgency of now. Ron emphasizes that each day is this finite resource. It's gone once it's gone, and it's vital to use it with intention. He points out that often it's not really a lack of ability that holds people back, but more often it's that pervasive habit of procrastination, just putting things off.
So the ultimate challenge here seems to be, stop waiting for the mythical perfect time. Stop overanalyzing and hesitating, and just make a firm decision that today is the day you begin elevating your standards, even in a small way.
Because ultimately, the future you desire is being constructed right now, in this very moment, through the accumulation of your daily choices and habits. So, are you actively building something strong and meaningful, or are you kind of just letting those precious days slip away with a vague hope for some future magical change? Lasting improvement demands that you step up, dismantle your excuses, and push beyond your perceived limitations. Growth and discipline, yeah, they can certainly be challenging, but as Ron so wisely stated, successful individuals are guided by their vision, not merely by their fleeting feelings or moods.
So there it is, really. Commit to that daily pursuit of excellence. Master your individual days.
And when you consistently apply these principles, success starts to feel less like a distant aspiration and more like, well, an inevitable outcome.
Absolutely. When you truly master your days, you are, in essence, mastering your life.